yogis, and welcome. I am Lorelai. This is Namasturm Yoga. This is my little home yoga studio, so join me in yours for a Monday evening practice. Obviously, I am recording this practice live, or I'm doing it live. I don't know if you're joining me live or not, but this will probably be approximately an hour, maybe a little less, but a relatively full-length practice. Intermediate level as well, so my expectation is that you are familiar with most yoga poses. We'll be on our feet quite a bit and moving around and, just trying to make this like a good little bit of a workout yoga class, I guess, let's just say. That said, feel free to take it at your own pace if you need to slow down or chill tonight for sure. Let's start sitting. So come to an easy seated position, cross-legged. This is Sukhasana. Just bring your hands to your knees. Try to align your spine here. Allow the shoulders to stack above the hips, trying to keep the back of the neck soft but long. And then you can just close your eyes with your head floating up on top of your neck. And slow down here for a sec. Take a moment to check in with yourself before we begin to move, so you know where you're coming from. Maybe you're coming from work, maybe you're watching this at a different time and just woke up and are headed to work. But wherever you're coming from, wherever you're going to, we want to create the time and space for this to just be your yoga practice. So that might mean letting go a little bit of some of the thoughts racing through your head. It might mean letting go of maybe some of the tension that as you take a look, you might notice. And it's easier said than done to just let go of tension. But I think if you know that it's there, if you know maybe what's going on, you might feel it in your body, in your neck, in your shoulders, in your gut, in wherever you feel it. And just seeing if you can kind of breathe here and soften around those spaces with the intention of letting this practice just be its own pace, be its own thing that's gonna ultimately connect to the rest of your life because you're you. But see if you can let it disconnect in the sense of, we're not gonna try to solve all our problems now. We're not gonna fix the world, but maybe you can focus on you here and bring a, better, more calm, more, some other kind of you to the rest of your day from having done the practice. That's the big picture, or the big hope, I guess. Let's just sit for a minute and I'll be quiet for you as well. All right, and then after we've slowed down a little bit and kind of created our yoga bubble, maybe think about what you would like your intention to be for this practice today. If you can't think of anything, that's okay. But are you looking for ease? Are you looking for energy? Are you looking for balance? What would be the thing to let yourself focus on as we go? And then let's just move right to hands and knees, setting up in tabletop for some cat-cow stretches. So no further delay, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Inhale to cow pose, head and tail lift, chest and belly drop. Exhale to cat pose, arch the spine, let your head and tail tuck back and forth. Follow the breath, and this is a perfect place to introduce your Ujjayi breathing practice. This is the point where I'm just going to real quick mention that although all YouTube is free, you do not have to pay anything to take this class. If you are getting value from it and you would like to make a little donation, the way to do that is in the description for this video. It's either PayPal or Venmo, and just easy to remember, my Venmo username is Namasturm. I used to teach this class through Zoom and was charging $10 a class, if you think that's a good number for you. But honestly, if you think $1 is a good number, I would love to have $1 from you. Like, that would make my day. So don't feel like there's too small of a number. If you do feel like you'd like to donate, I would be happy with anything. And, I think it just, makes me want to keep going since, YouTube is not paying me the millions that you might think it would be. Let's just say YouTube has paid me $300 in 5 years total. So that's not a whole lot to go on, but I do love teaching here anyway. All right, enough of cat-cow. Let's just take the right leg out to the side, take the right arm up, twist open, let your head lean back. I start a lot of my classes this way, just really waking up the spine and maybe, the bigger joints. We're getting a little bit into shoulder here. Neck, I hope. If anything is hurting your neck, move the head to a place where it feels safe. But come back to center, hand and knee to the floor, left leg out, left arm up, twisting open the other direction. And then go ahead and come back, and we're gonna walk the hands back and come up onto our knees. And then from here, on an inhale, just reach the arms up. As you exhale, this is a little balance counterbalance, so you've gotta bring your hips back to your heels and drop your forehead to the floor. It's kind of like coming to child's pose. If you're finding it really hard to balance here, you might need to bring your hands down sooner, but theoretically you can do this with the arms in the air. Inhale, come up. Exhale, dive down, head to floor, hips to heels. Follow the breath here. It's kind of like the top of a sun A, but we're on our knees, right? So we have to modify it a little. And then the next time you are up, go ahead and step the right foot forward, and we're gonna take a low lunge. If you need to pad that back knee, go ahead and do that, but otherwise, sink the hips forward towards that front heel. And we've stretched our spine, kind of like flexion and extension. We've done a little twist. We haven't done any side stretch, so that's what I wanna do here. Take your left arm up, bend the elbow, grab that elbow with the right hand, and pull over to the right as you lunge. And release, and then bring your hands to the mat. Take your right knee back to join the left, and let's bend the elbows, lower the heart down between the hands, and then extend the feet, lift up cobra pose. You could keep this a baby cobra, but if you're ready for a full cobra, little softness in the elbows, so don't lock them, and make sure the shoulders stay down and away from the ears. All right, and then let's just come back to our knees. Walk the hands back, reach the arms up, and we'll take 2 more times where we're kind of doing that dive that we did before. Hips to heels, forehead to floor. Up. And diving down. And then this time from up, we're gonna step the left foot forward. I know, what a surprise. Sinking the hips forward towards that front heel, and then just mirroring our first side, we're gonna bend the right elbow, grab that with the left hand, and pull for a little side stretch. Okay, careful release, hands to the mat, left knee to join the right. Again, lower the heart, cobra pose, and hey, let's go to downward facing dog. So tuck toes, lift knees and hips. Let your head hang down. First down dog, I usually like to keep the knees really bent and the heels really lifted, and that can sometimes really help find the elongation in the upper body. Spread the fingers wide, push forward and down with the hands. Lift up and away with the hips and melt the heart towards your thighs. And then once all that's working for you, maybe straighten out the right leg and drop that heel towards the floor. Take a breath or two there. And then switch up the sides. Take your time here. If you like to pedal a little more quickly through your feet, that's absolutely fine. But the idea is we're trying to actually warm up the legs.
And then let's walk the feet forward towards the hands and come to standing forward fold. I feel like my mic is about to fall off of me. All right, hang heavy, feet about hip distance, soft knees, let your upper body go, maybe grab opposite elbows if you like to. You can bounce the knees or sway a little from side to side. And then bending the knees a little more, start to roll up. You can let go of the elbows now. Coming all the way up to standing at the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders back and down a couple of times. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, dive down over the legs. Lifting halfway, so flattening the back, take Ardha Uttanasana, reach the head forward away from the tail. Trying to keep the back of the neck and the spine long. Bend the knees, plant the palms, and step the feet to plank pose. Leveling out the hips with the shoulders. Strong through the core, but the quads are also a little engaged here, so obviously our legs are supporting us too. Stay with the breath. And then lowering down, and maybe this time you want to lower through Chaturanga Dandasana, or you can lower knees first. Inhale, Cobra, or maybe you're ready for upward facing dog on the tops of the feet. And then heck, let's just go to down dog. Head hanging. Here, we can be a little more still in this down dog, but think about lengthening, especially in the upper body as you inhale, deepening as you exhale. And then walking the feet to the top of the mat, or you could step or you can hop, that's fine. This time, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, lift halfway, flatten the back. Exhale, fold Uttanasana, and then root down to rise, reversing your swan dive. Back to Tadasana, palms together in front of the heart. Connect with your breath, and we're gonna go into a couple rounds of Sun Salutation A. Inhale, reach arms out and up. Exhale, dive down Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step to plank, lowering Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then you can hold here anywhere from 1 to 5 breaths, kind of depending on the type of practice you'd like tonight. When you're ready to move on, you'll inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop forward. Ardha Uttanasana to Uttanasana on an exhale. Inhale, rise back up. And let's do a few more rounds. I'm going to let you do these at your own pace. Follow your breath. I'm not going to cue. Same thing. Modify as needed. Listen to your body here. Take one more round, or, depending on where you are, we're gonna meet at the top of the mat. So the next time You complete a round at the top of the mat. Just go ahead and allow yourself to stay for a few breaths in Tadasana, standing pose, mountain pose. Stay connected to the Ujjayi, even if you're not moving and flowing. That rhythm kind of still works in you. And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, dive down Uttanasana. Now, this time, step the right foot back and come to a high lunge, crescent pose. So bring your upper body up as you're lunging deeply into that front knee. Back leg is straight and strong. If you're not able to straighten out the back leg without the front knee going past the ankle, you might need to step your back foot further back. So it should be, your legs should be using most of the mat here. And then hands to the mat, simply plank. And then let's take a vinyasa here. Follow your breath. Now from down dog, we're going to take the right leg up, open the hip and bend the knee. Point the knee to the sky, twist the low body, but keep the shoulders pretty level. And look forward, step forward. High lunge, we're on the other side now. All right, fingers to the top of the mat, step forward, feet together. Reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, Uttanasana. Now we're going to step the left foot back. So coming to high lunge again, we were just here, but now we're going to change it up. So we're going to come to an easy twist, left hand to the floor inside the right foot, right arm up, stack the shoulders. Look to your lifted thumb if you can. And then from here, we're going to come into side plank on the left. So roll to the outer edge of that left foot and let that right foot come back. And it might do the modified version, or you can take that full version if you're able to. All right, turn to your mat, take a vinyasa. Modify if you need to. You can skip them if you want to as well. So if you're good with vinyasas, you can always let it go. All right, left leg, take it into the air, open the hip and bend the knee. Point the knee to the sky. Look forward, step forward. High lunge. Again, come on up, crescent. And then let's take the right hand down. So twisting the other way, left arm up, stack the shoulders. So we know we're going to go to a side plank. The idea is that the upper body should already be there, so we don't have to move the upper body at all. Try to stabilize through the shoulders, through the collarbones, and then rolling to the outer edge of the right foot. Now just move that left foot back into place. And then turn to your mat. You're in plank again. Let's just take another vinyasa here. And breathe to rest in down dog. If you need a deeper rest, you can drop knees to the floor and hips to heels and forehead down for child's pose. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or lightly hop the feet. Half lift and fold. And then bend the knees. We're going to take chair pose here, Utkatasana. So weight on the heels, the feet should be together so that the knees can be side by side, and then arms come alongside the ears. Notice if you tend to like stick your butt out and take a bend in the back, ideally what we want to do instead is slightly tuck the tail and pull the navel in. We're in a zigzag lightning bolt shape here, but the core is stabilizing things. Feel this on your thighs. And then we're going to twist to the right. So left arm outside of the right leg, press the palms together to turn the torso. Those of you who've practiced with me before, you will have some familiarity with some sequences and transitions I tend to do. From here, standing on the right foot, let's send the left foot to the back of the mat. So we're coming to a high lunge and a deep twist here. So this is one, I do like this little sequence here, going from the prayer twist to the high lunge twist, and then let your arms open out if you can. Now from here, let's come on up and we're gonna keep the twist and see if you can stretch it back. So it feels like a reverse warrior, but we're in a twisting version of it. Now, let's take a standing split. So we're going to let both fingertips come to the front of the mat. Float the left leg up as you straighten the right leg and fold in towards it. And then from here, bending the front knee, reach the left foot for the back of the mat and try to land it for warrior one. Back heel down, facing the front edge of your mat, hips are square, lunging into the front knee, and the edge of the foot is down. So slightly different than crescent pose that way. If you want, you can bring the palms together and look to your lifted thumbs here. All right, and vinyasa. That right quad is talking to me. Holding, resting in down dog for just a couple of breaths, and then on an inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk or hop the feet forward. Half lift and fold. And then we've got chair pose again. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to flip to the other end of my mat just so I can keep facing you. But we're going to twist to the left now. So right arm outside of the left leg, press the palms. This plant in front of me has gotten wild. It's huge. So now keeping the twist, stand on the left foot and shoot that right foot to the back of the mat. High lunge twist, and if you're able, let the arms open. Float up and stretch back as far as you can. Still lunging forward, back leg is still straight and strong. And then a standing split. On the left foot, fingertips come down to the floor or mat, right leg lifts into the air. Bending the front knee, reach the right foot to the back of the mat, toes down, and then heel down. Come on up, warrior one on the left. Maybe palms together, look up. And hands down, take your vinyasa. All right, breathe in down dog to rest, and we're gonna go back into a little bit of a flow. So this next sequence coming up, we'll come back to the top of the mat first, but we're gonna start it like a dancing warrior, but we're gonna start it like a sun bee, but then we're gonna add on to it so it kind of goes in the direction of dancing warrior. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Half lift. Fold, Uttanasana, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair. Straighten the legs, come to standing. And then inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, follow your breath through vinyasa. From down dog, let's take the right leg up just for one inhale, down dog split. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one, and then let's open to warrior two, but let's hold warrior two this time since it's our first time in this pose. My hair's going everywhere. Look over the front fingers, front knee over ankle, and front heel and back arch can align in this pose, which is a little different than how they line up in warrior one. Got cicadas here this time of year in Chicago. Last year, I feel like we got them so late in the year, although this is pretty late in the season right now, too. Let's reverse warrior and stretch back. Now, a little change up from what we would do if we were doing a dancing warrior. We're going to straighten the front leg and just come into triangle pose, Trikonasana. So front leg is straight, arms are kind of vertical here. And then from here, rotate the top arm in, bring it overhead alongside the ear, and then strong through the core, lift the bottom hand, palms face each other. Extending, strong through the center, and then we're gonna roll the body to face the right leg, bend the right knee, moving into warrior three. Float up off those back toes, easy as you can. And if you've got room, you can keep the arms outstretched. If you don't have room, or if you just are losing your balance, press palms together in front of the heart. And then this sequence is just gonna cycle back to warrior one. So bend the front knee, back foot back. Inhale, one breath, and then exhale, take a vinyasa. We'll flow right into the second side. From down dog, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Warrior one to warrior two, and we'll hold. So get your alignment set up. Take a moment if you need to for the adjustments so you feel like your body's in the proper position. And then just stay and breathe. Reverse your warrior. And then straightening the front leg, move to triangle pose, Trikonasana. From here, top arm overhead, palm faces the floor. Get strong through the feet and core. Try not to let the lower body sink as you lift the bottom hand, palms face each other. Now roll your torso to face your left leg, bend the knee, transfer your weight to the left, warrior three. So we have all our warriors in this sequence here. When you're ready to leave the pose, bend the front knee, step back long, strong warrior one. Inhale, exhale, move through vinyasa. Follow your breath. Okay, let's take the right leg into the air, down dog split, but we're gonna open the hip without bending the knee. So just try to stretch that foot up as high as it will go. And then we're gonna swing or sweep that right leg up under the left arm, edge of the foot off the mat, and then see if you can take the left arm up and lift. Turn your body open. Left hand back down. Inhale, sweep the right leg back up again. And exhale, step the foot forward. Back heel down. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And now let's go ahead and take extended side angle with the front knee bent. Top arm overhead, creating that diagonal. And if it would feel good to you, maybe taking a bind here. So it could be a half bind with just the left arm coming behind. But if you want to take the full bind, right shoulder drops in front of the knee, right arm wraps under the right leg, and left hand catches behind. Twist the chest open, tuck the right hip under. And then from your bound extended side, option to start to straighten the leg to come to a bound triangle. This can be done with a half bind as well. Okay, now release your bind. We're gonna take that left arm all the way over, and come to a revolve half moon. So transfer all the weight onto your right foot. Left hand is down. Turn your body open to the right with the right arm up. Reach through that left leg. And then from here, keeping the rotation, we're just gonna let ourselves kind of step that back foot back to come to revolve triangle. So left toes down, left heel down, left fingers slide back, right arm can stay up. And then turn to the mat. Step both feet back, whatever makes most sense here. You can take a vinyasa to get to down dog, and we'll take just a little breather here before we do the second side. Okay, so left leg, take it into the air, try to keep it straight, but let the hip open. So just stretch the foot. So it almost feels like a standing split, right? But obviously our hands are further forward and taking weight. Now we're gonna swing that left leg up under the right arm. Foot's off the edge of the mat. Take the right arm up and turn everything open. This is kind of like a variation of a side plank here. Right hand down, left leg up, and then we're starting kind of like we were gonna do that dancing warrior sequence here. Left foot steps forward, inhale warrior one, exhale warrior two, inhale, reverse, and then indeed this would be the last pose of a dancing warrior. We'll hold an extended side angle, but we've got a few variation options here. So if you'd like to, you could go to a bound extended side angle. And then from here, if it would feel good, maybe gently start to straighten the front leg, turning this into a bound triangle pose. Next, releasing the bind, the right arm is going to come up and it's going to make its way forward as you bend your left knee, take your weight to the left foot, float the right leg up, left arm up, revolve half moon here. Get your hair out of the way if it's in your face. And then because we've already got sort of the twist in the torso going, and probably our hips are pretty level, turning this into a revolved triangle shouldn't be that, like there shouldn't be that many things that happen. It shouldn't be that disruptive of a transition. Back foot lowers, top arm stays up. Try to make sure your back heel is actually down on the floor. Reach head forward away from tail. And then when you're ready, turn to the floor. And here's your vinyasa. Breathing in downward facing dog to rest. And then let's walk the feet about midway to the mat, and we're going to come to a squat. So you can turn the toes out, drop the sit bones down, taking malasana here, garland pose, and elbows inside knees. I've come to the middle of the mat as opposed to the top of the mat for a reason. So I'm going to talk through bakasana here, crow pose, which is an arm balance, but then I'm also going to suggest, if you'd like, doing the transition from crow into tripod headstand here, which we can go directly from one to the other. But you know, anytime we're doing something that we're balancing on our hands, on our head, you want to make sure you're safe. So I can talk through it. I'm going to do my best to demonstrate it, but if that's not right for you, find an alternative that would make sense. So you could just stay with malasana here, you could practice crow and stay there. If you need to move to the wall, if you'd like to practice a headstand at the wall, go ahead and do that. But first of all, the arm balance. Upper arms, I always like to really slide them deep under the shins. If we're doing like elbows to knees and trying to balance, like this is like a wobbly joint, at least in my experience. Whereas if we can get the arm bone to cross under the shin bone, there's just way more stability there. Then hands to the mat, spread your fingers, and you're gonna just have to transfer your weight forward because there's no getting the feet off the floor with our sit bones, our hips way far back. So we're gonna have to lift the heels and start to move everything until the weight comes over those wrists, and then the toes should be able to flick up much more easily. It's not about strength, it's about placing the center of gravity. Now stay here, or some of you might say, oh, look, I could just put my head on the floor. Well, how much easier would this pose be if my head were down? And it sure is. And then the challenge would be, like, you could stay put, you could try to lift your head again, or you can move your hips over your shoulders and then let the legs reach into the air. It's been a while since I've done this one. It's feeling a little like, woo, woo, can I do it? Now, it might seem easy to come out and go back into crow, and it actually isn't that hard to bring the shins back down to the upper arms, so this is something to practice too. The hard part, though, is to try to lift the head again without the feet just dropping to the floor. So this is kind of a fun thing to play with, like can you come back to bakasana? And, you know, eventually the feet are going to come down. It's what happens. But take your time, and if you need to play with that for another few moments, go ahead and do that. But next we're going to go into boat pose. So if you're like, okay, let's clear that one away, you can move right into Navasana here. Sit bones on the floor, hands behind the thighs. Let the shins level out with the knees, shoulders back, heart lifts, and then reach the arms. Feet down, hands behind you, plug the shoulder blades in. Let's do a reverse table. Chin in or head back, but try to get the hips as high as the knees on this. And sit bones come down. And let's go ahead and lift the shins again. Now, I want to throw out, like, the idea would be in Navasana that we try to eventually straighten the legs, but sometimes that can be really hard to do from here. But what happens if hands behind the thighs, lift your heart now while holding the legs, straighten them up, You've got to lift your chest a little more to counterbalance here, but see if now you can release the hands and stay put. And then see if you can counterbalance with the upper body to slowly lower the legs down, heels to the floor, lift up. Let's take a reverse plank. So the toes are going to point down, bring the hands behind you. You might turn the fingers in a different direction this time for just a little variety. Shoulder blades plug in. On your heels, point your toes. And sit bones down. Let's go ahead and come back to our feet and take Padahastasana here. So one at a time, sliding the hands under the feet until the toes reach the wrists, and then wiggle the toes into the wrists, trying to give them a little massage. All right, take the hands out from underneath the feet, roll on up to standing, and then let's step out wide for Prasarita Padottanasana. So feet about a leg length apart and parallel, hands start at your waist. As you begin to fold, take yourself about halfway down, and then you can allow your hands to come to the floor, lining them up with your feet. Lift the quads, open the backs of the legs, shift the weight forward, head hangs down heavy. Breathe. And then hands back to the waist, root down with the feet. Rise up with the torso. And then let's turn the toes out or the heels in, whatever makes most sense. And again, this is a sequence that I've done in multiple classes before. We're going to get into some hip opening stretches here. So bringing the palms together in front of the heart, let's go ahead and drop the sit bones straight down for basically this is goddess pose. Make sure your knees are pointing towards your toes. Now next, we're going to go into a side lunge, and if this is not right for your knee, then you can just come to kind of a seat, and we're going to take Janu Shirshasana in a moment, so you could just go to that directly. But if you're able to work with this, lunging to your right, let the sit bones come towards the floor, but they're not on the floor. We're going to pop onto our left heel so that this is a lunge. There's space underneath my leg here. You might have the calf touching the floor, but it's not taking weight. And then right elbow inside the right knee, press the palms and turn the torso, or you could bind here. The right arm comes around that right leg and the left hand catches it behind. Turn your shoulders open. And then when you come out of this one, we're going to just drop that left sit bone down now, fully onto the mat. And then what's my hair doing? And then let's take the right foot, sole of the foot to the upper inner thigh. And here's where we can take Janu Shirshasana. We're just going to angle towards the left. So we're just keeping that leg that was out. We're keeping it straight. Take the arms up and then fold in towards it. Single leg stretch. Okay, slowly come on up. And then we're gonna go to pigeon on the right. So here's how we kind of need to do it. We're just gonna angle our body, but we're gonna swing that right knee around and then roll onto the left quad.
quad. If you know where you're going with pigeon stretch, you will get there. It is not that difficult, but it sometimes is a hard transition to explain. But so now we're gonna take our fold here and get our hip opener. Allow your forearms to come to the ground, or if you wanna walk the hands further out and find your stretch. Okay, so coming up slowly, support yourself with the right hand and then bending the left knee behind you, find the foot with the left hand and draw the heel towards the hip. If hand and foot will not meet today, you can go ahead and just keep your left leg on the ground and then just have both sets of fingers at the front of the mat, helping to lift the torso. You'll still get a stretch for the front of the body. Okay, and then let that one go. Plant the palms. We're gonna move the right knee back to the left and then lower down to the mat. And we're gonna do the other side in a minute, but between, let's take a bow pose. So bending the knees, reach back with the hands for the tops of the feet, or if you do have a little more space, you could reach for the ankles and flex the feet, but this is really only if you can do this without the knees going wide. And then press the pelvis down, pull the heels away from the hips so that the shoulders kind of get drawn back. Some of you will stay right here with the thighs still resting on the floor. Some of you might choose to press the feet towards the ceiling and come up a little higher. All right, now keeping some of your lift, release your feet, hands next to the chest, push to cobra, and then downward facing dog to rest. And walk the feet to the top of the mat. And again, let's roll up to stand. Shoulders back. All right, stepping out wide. Let's take our second variation of Prasrita. So this time I encourage trying to interlace the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades together and down. And if the hands don't meet, you could put a towel between them, or you could also just go back to the variation we did the first time. But this is just our wide-legged forward fold again. Head is hanging. If you do have the hands though, keep shoulder blades on your back. Let arms reach up and over. And root down with the feet, rise up with the upper body, turn the toes out or heels in, and sink the hips down, palms together. We are going to shift to the side lunge to the left. Again, be mindful of your knee. Let your hips come towards the floor, but they're not actually on the floor. And then pop onto your right heel. Press the palms or take the bind, trying to mirror what you did the first time.
All right. And then unwinding, lower that right sit bone to the floor, but that right leg can just stay straight ahead of you. Tuck the sole of the left foot in, angle your body to the right leg, and Janu-Shirshasana, meaning knee to head pose. But we don't want to bring really our head and knee together. We're really thinking more of our head reaching towards our toes. So we're a little longer than that. All right, walk the hands back, and let's come and roll on over to our left for our pigeon stretch. Adjust, adjust, adjust. Shin aligned kind of with the front of your mat. Get on the top of the back knee. So we shouldn't be, or on the thigh, we shouldn't be on the back knee, and then we're kind of like sitting on the foot and folding down here. We should really try to walk that back leg back so we're resting on the top of the thigh. And then we usually have a little more space between our hip and our heel. At least that's the idea. I think most of you are familiar with this one, but just a refresher for those of you who might be confused. Let's fold down and sink into this stretch. I think part of the reason I say that is because I know we came into this pose a different way than we usually do, so you may have to adjust or tweak things a little bit to get the alignment properly. All right, take your time here. You can spend a little more in the stretch, but when you're ready, come on up and we're gonna go to the next stretch, which is a quad stretch for the right leg. So bending that knee and do your best to find the foot. Again, if the hand doesn't find the foot, just skip the knee bending part because that will just put strain on your hamstring. If you've got the foot, you can then let go and relax your hamstring and allow your hand to do the work. Okay. Release. Let's take one more time on the floor, so lowering your belly down. Another bow pose here. Bending the knees, grabbing the feet with the hands, and then just pull up and away. Find your dynamic stretch. Back bends really can be very stimulating to our nervous system. We don't necessarily want to do too many of them before bed, but although they feel challenging in the moment, it often feels really nice to release them. All right, let's go ahead and let that go. Cobra pose again, and then downward facing dog. And let's walk the feet and hands a little closer to each other in this down dog because we're going to do a nice twist, taking the left hand over to the outer right calf, if you can. Pull your torso through. And then switching the sides. Right hand to left calf. And then hands down once again, walking the feet forward. This time let's come to a seat. So we're gonna take Baddha Konasana here, which is bound angle pose. Soles of the feet come together, heels draw in, knees go wide, leaning forward to stretch these, like the hip flexors, these upper inner legs. Lean in for that.
And come on up. Take the legs out, both of them. Maybe give them a little shake. Paschimottanasana. Inhale, reach the arms, and exhale, forward fold. All right, come on up. And we're gonna lower down to the floor here. So as you can tell, we are winding down from our practice. Lower your back, bring your knees into the chest, and then take your arms out, kind of like a T, or maybe it's the cactus or goalpost arms. Drop your knees to the right, turn your head to the left, and let's just go back and forth. Bring the knees back to center, and then drop the knees to the left, turn your head to the right. Inhale, come back to center. We'll do a couple more times. For some reason, this propels me down my mat. I feel like I don't end up in the same starting position that I started. I'm gradually sliding, but we're only gonna do a few, so hopefully we won't end up completely off our mats. All right, this time as you drop your knees to the right, go ahead and hold for a few breaths here, turning your head to the left. And then changing it up, one more time. Knees to the left, head to the right. Ah, yes. I hope this practice has felt good to you. That is really always the aim. We want to feel good doing our yoga. As I mentioned, if you did enjoy it and you'd like to support the channel, there's ways to donate to, for the class, just a little drop-in donation to Venmo or PayPal. But it is totally optional. It is up to you. Coming back to center. And then let's just bring the feet to the floor and take the knees wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. So we did Baddha Konasana from a seated position where it was more active. We were leaning in. Here, this is very passive. So the knees just drop all on their own. See if you can bring your right hand to your belly and your left hand to your heart. And we're just gonna lay here for a couple of breaths. I say a couple, it'll probably be more than a couple. Now, this is where I would suggest you can stay in this pose as long as you like. But when you're ready to release it, you could just lengthen your legs out and go straight into Shavasana with no other fuss or muss. You could just kind of keep your body on the ground the whole time and transition to corpse pose. And then from corpse pose, give yourself a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you've got it, to just release the weight of your body to the floor, let go, relax, and really bookend, complete your practice with stillness after you've spent so much time moving, stretching, strengthening, deep breathing, all of that. This is where you let go and give it up. And then, when you're ready to release your practice, then you can move on with the rest of your day, your evening. And I'm gonna do that from here with you. So the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so very much for joining me and sharing this practice. Namaste. If you've made it all the way to the end, boy, I do appreciate you very much. You might consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. If you are still watching, my guess is you are already a subscriber, so thanks so much for doing that. I've been doing these classes live stream, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, they do stay up later, so you can catch them whenever you want to. And then I have, I don't know, 250, 260 other odd videos you can choose from at any time. Give this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed the practice, and don't hesitate to leave me any questions or comments below if you've got them. That's all. Enjoy your Shavasana. I'll let you go off in peace. Take care. Bye-bye.